Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Ramp Booth, exclusive on A2DRadio.com, streaming live from the Ocean City Boardwalk here at All Campus, our sponsor for the Ramp Booth between 10th and 11th Street on the Ocean City Boardwalk. It's a gorgeous day down here.
Beautiful.
About 65 degrees, might get up to 70, no wind, the sea is calm. We got discounted hats still on the front table. Was that 50% off, John?
50% off hats.
You know, you're an A2D member. You get an additional 20% off.
Yep.
Become an A2D member. Follow the link in the comments right up there on the screen. Ralphie will put it up for us, our great producer. But, I mean, with the A2D membership, you get 20% off here. You get merchandise giveaways, special shows, shout-outs. And you also get gambling picks from Willie Vegas and the Money Pop podcast. Boy, I haven't been winning many bets, but I've been doing okay.
Right.
But it's a great time of year to get into the gambling scene. March Madness, there's nothing funner. Thursday was just the most chaos day I can remember in recent tournament history. You got St. Peter's. They're now in the Sweet 16.
Yep.
They're a 15 seed, and you just had great finish after great finish on Thursday. Little step back on Friday. Yesterday was pretty good, and then, you got a full slate. Today, starting at 12-10 with Houston over Illinois.
Yeah.
I'll give my pick of the day. I'll give it right off the bat. I don't know what Nate and the Money Pop podcast are doing. I don't know what Willie Vegas is doing, but I'm hammering Houston.
Houston.
Minus 4.5 over Illinois.
Loving it.
I like it. I think I got it at 3, and it's up to 3.5, so I got a little better number. But, yeah, we're hammering Houston today. Absolutely hammering Houston today. But we got a lot to talk about, including March Madness. End of an era for the Philadelphia Flyers. Clauge Giroux goes from Philadelphia to the Florida Panthers, where he actually has a legitimate chance to win a Stanley Cup. A lot of people dismayed at the trade package got back for Claude Giroux, but I don't know.
I thought it was good. Yeah,
it's time to turn the page. It's an expiring contract. Looking back, even though I was a little outraged at first, expiring contract. You got what you got. You turn the page. You need a new captain. The whole team needs to flush the toilet.
Correct.
They absolutely stink.
Correct.
You got the Eagles doing some things. Hassan Reddick comes in. They're clearing cap space. The NFL is just crazy a buzz. Crazy a buzz. I think I've never seen so many top-tier guys traded. So we'll talk about what that means for the NFL, the NFC, the NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles. And then baseball. We've reached an agreement. We are 19 days away
Let's go.
from opening day. And, John, the Philadelphia Phillies have made a splash. They have exceeded the luxury tax. They have given Bryce Harper some help in this everyday lineup. Schwarber comes in. Castellanos comes in. A lot of people forget they signed Corey Kneubel before the lockout.
Right.
He's going to be hopefully closing down games for you at the back end of the bullpen, making that better. We
got some names. Well, we'll see how better they are, but we got some names.
I mean, how could they not be better? You got nothing from left field. You got a DH now that you got to fill, and your lineup is longer now. It'll be interesting to see how they stack this lineup. But that brings us to our poll question, again, brought to you by All Campus, right down here on the Ocean City Boardwalk between 10th and 11th Street. 50% off hats. It's a lot of fun. We got it looks like you got some new college hats in.
Got some new college hats. Got all my NBA hats. The 75th anniversary hats are in. Got some new NFL hats in. Come check it out.
All right, so that brings us to our poll questions. The Philadelphia Phillies will make the playoffs this year. Go ahead, John.
Yes, agree. I mean, I'm just based off of our lineup, which I'm hoping averages 6.5 runs a game. I mean, 6.5, 7 runs a game. I don't see why we can't. I know it's a high number, but this lineup, we are stacked perfectly for the new rule change. But everyone's got to remember that bullpen pitchers have to pitch to 3 batters now, right? Mm-hmm. So we can go righty-lefty throughout our whole entire lineup, which is really, really going to help us match up against other teams' bullpens. And our starting 5 is actually pretty good, guys. I mean, when Gibson is our 5 starter, 4-5, that's not bad, man. He still could win you 9 games. So I'm pretty psyched. I'm pretty excited to think that not only can we win or make the playoffs, I think we might be able to win the division.
Win the division? I don't know. I'm sneaking in right now, and maybe throughout the chat I can become a little more confident and get to that division level.
Okay.
But on paper, even though the Phillies have done some good things, and I
Right.
like what they've done, they finally open up the wallet. They go over the luxury tax by a whopping $8 million.
Oh, they said they wouldn't though, so at least it's something.
At least it's something. You're absolutely right. But the Braves are better than this baseball team right now, and the
Yeah.
Mets are better than this baseball team right now.
But both of them have injury concerns that I'm a little bit worried about too.
Acuna's probably out till May.
Right.
You lose Freeman down in Atlanta, but you bring in Olsen, who's just
Still a loss.
It's a loss, but Olsen's younger. Olsen's a good defender. They lock him up for the next 8 years.
Right.
You have a bunch of young players down there in Atlanta. You still have Charlie Morton, Ian Anderson, Max Fried. That's the better pitching rotation.
Yes.
The Mets spent a bunch of money. Scherzer and DeGrom at the top. You get Bassett, who was an all-star last year from the Oakland A's, and then Lindor hopefully is better for
Turns
that
around a little bit,
$34 million AAV,
Yeah.
which just makes me excited that we have Bryce Harper for the next 10 years at a $25 million
Correct.
AAV. Like Carlos Correa got 35 a year from the Twins, albeit for 3 seasons, but
Chris Bryant got an outrageous contract.
Chris Bryant got paid. Freddie Freeman got paid. So as this seems like the market peaked with Lindor and Harper, and now it's correcting itself, making
Correct.
Harper, one of the bigger bargains in all of Major League Baseball. And perhaps that was by design, so you can do some other things and not exceed the luxury tax. But they got 70 mil coming off the books next year. So
Right.
this luxury tax party is only going to be 1 year, and I'm sure that went into Mr. Middleton and the ownership group's
Right.
thought process, because they're not dumb people. They're billionaires for a reason. They're really
Right.
smart, but they obviously saw an opportunity with Nick Castellanos. Thought that he was going to be a difference maker. 5 years, 100 at $20 million AAV.
Right.
It's not nothing. I don't like
it's
yeah.
nothing for a guy who hits 35, 40 home runs. Bats 300.
Yeah, he's a
Right?
really outstanding hitter.
Yeah.
My concern with this team right now is that you're going to be giving teams extra outs.
Well, yeah, defensively, this team is going to be a little bit hard to stomach this year. You got holes in center, left, third, first. I mean, you shortstop. Didi's not very good. Yeah, you got holes everywhere. The only spot I feel comfortable with is catcher and second, and right.
You look at this team on the base paths from a athletic running standpoint. There's not much there either.
No, and that's I think that's more the change of the game aspect of it than anything to do with just the Phillies not being there.
You're boxed in to bashing.
Correct.
Is my concern with this baseball team. Reason that I can't commit to them. Like lock, stock, and barrel, Rob Brinkman going freaking nuts here on A2D Radio. Phillies are going. Phillies are winning the division. Red October, all that.
Right.
I'm not quite there yet, but I could.
I think you will be. I think you will be.
Probably. You know how I get.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, you're boxed in. So any type of prolonged slump that prevents this team from, moving it down the line and scoring 5, 6, 7, 8 runs a game could result in a losing streak.
Right.
Another concern I have is Zach Wheeler. Now, Zach Wheeler is terrific. Zach Wheeler was second in the Cy Young. There's arguments that he was the Cy Young last year.
Right.
I forget who won. I think Corbin Burns won.
Burns
won out of Milwaukee. Great player. But, is Zach Wheeler, is that repeatable for next year?
No.
This year coming up, excuse me?
And you have to look. Usually, unless your real top-of-the-line pitchers, but usually a pitcher who throws the most innings of his career the next year is a down year because of injuries or wear and tear, fatigue, whatever you want to call it. It's usually a down year. So I am a little worried about that. Yes.
And, he's still going to be good.
Yeah. He still should get you 12, 14 wins, you hope, but you just hope that he can give you 200 innings, and I don't know if that's going to be a thing this year.
So with the Phillies, I see a very good team offensively. I see a pretty good starting rotation, and I see a closer who I hope they finally have a closer who can get it done, at least somewhat, in Kneubel.
Yeah.
Setup, athleticism, and defense are huge concerns, but let's look at it like let's run through the National League real quick
Right.
and look like I think the East is the best division.
Easily, yeah. I mean, the West is pretty good, but the East, I think, is the best.
You have the Central. I think the Cardinals walk away with that division.
Yeah.
If I had to make a futures bet right now on your preferred sports book of choice, I'd probably bet the Cardinals to win the World Series just because of the odds. And
Yeah.
5 of their 8 position players won Gold Gloves last year. They're young, they're athletic. They have 2 studs in Goldschmidt and Arenado.
Right.
So we'll give them the Central.
And every other team in that division took a step back.
I mean, Cubbies.
Big step back.
Cubbies, no.
Reds, big step back.
Reds, no.
Brewers, big step back.
Brewers.
If their pitching holds out, maybe, but their lineup's really not that
But, I mean,
desirable.
you had 3 Cy Young candidates for the Brewers last year, and Peralta, Burns, who won it, and Woodruff.
Right.
Now, I expect Burns and Woodruff to be there as legit aces at the top of that rotation there in Milwaukee. I don't know about Freddie Peralta. I mean, if he takes even a little step back, the Brewers are
a bad team.
They're average. They're 81
Okay.
and 81. 81 and 81. And then, you look at the East, there's 3 teams at the top. Miami's my sleeper team.
Miami's going to be a good team, man.
If you look at their rotation, you got Alcantara, Trevor Rogers, Pablo Lopez.
Yeah.
Sixto's hurt, which that trade looks better and better.
Right.
Year after year, which I was saying everyone wants to ooh and ah at Sixto Sanchez throwing the ball 100 miles an hour. Like, okay, this is a guy that had arm trouble at 19. He had arm trouble at 21. He's got arm trouble again. So what's he going to be at 25, 28, 30? He's probably going to have arm trouble then, too.
He'll move to the bullpen at some point.
Interesting take.
Yeah, he'll move to the bullpen.
But you don't trade the best catcher in baseball for a bullpen guy.
No.
So that's a win for the Phillies. And then you have the West and the Giants. Are they going to be a 100-win team again? My answer is no.
I doubt a 100-win team, but I think they'll be in the mix.
Well, I mean, this is what they did with the 6 playoff teams. Like, everybody's going to be in the mix. It's like going to be like the NFL. It's going to be a mad dash to the finish, and you're going to have a bunch of doubleheaders, the last couple weeks of the season because of the canceled games because of the lockout. But, I like the Giants pitching. I don't know if they can do it. Like, is Brandon Crawford, is he going to go back to the well again? Brandon Belt, all these old heads they got that they won the World Series with? I don't know. And then you have the San Diego Padres out there. Interesting top of the rotation, and Blake Snell and Yu Darvish.
Well, they're both injury issues there. Snell's not starting the season now.
You have Musgrove. So you have pretty good pitching out there. And you have Tatis, who's hurt, out for 3 months.
Yep.
So I don't know can they score enough runs without Tatis.
They made some interesting pickups. I think their lineup's going to be okay. I mean, you still got Machado, who could be an MVP candidate if he gets right. You still got a decent lineup there. I think that they'll compete again. They'll be in the mix.
So you got like a bunch of teams in the mix. With the champs is Atlanta. The Mets look really good on paper, but the Mets have looked really good on paper
a lot,
many times before, and they've fallen flat on their face. And it couldn't happen to a nicer team. I hate the Mets. It's cowboy level hate for the Mets. I can't stand them. I can't stand their fans. I can't stand Queens. I can't stand their stupid hack of a mascot. It's just the laziest mascot ever. It's just he's a baseball.
Just got Mr. Baseball hats in.
You have Met hats in here?
Mr. Baseball hats.
That's disgusting.
Where's he at? He's right there, right next
Met
to
hat?
us.
Where?
Right there in the middle, right there.
Ugh, that's disgusting, John. But you look at the Phillies, like, they should be a top 6 team, despite their flaws. And I'll commit to them finishing second in this division and grabbing a top wild card because, like, the AL looks loaded. And the National League is just kind of playing catch-up at this point. So if the Phillies that were right there last year, adding a playoff team, adding a DH, which helps the Phillies tremendously because
very much
all their players, including the ones they've signed, can't play defense at all.
Right.
Which is probably my biggest concern with this baseball team is extra outs. You can't give extra outs. You can't give
we're going
outs.
to this year. It's just
that's
inevitable.
Not going to be good for winning baseball.
You have to have Bohm at third, I think. I don't know who else could
You're
play
boxed
there.
in.
Yeah. I know there's rumors. Stop moving to short. Didi maybe the third. I don't
No, I
see
don't see
that.
that. I don't
I
see
don't
that
see
at
that.
all.
I
I don't
think
see that
Bohm's
at
your
all.
third. Yeah.
So,
And that's an error game right there.
Jason Bennett, will the Phillies lead the league in home runs this season? They have to. If they want to get to where they want to go, and that's October baseball, for the first time in 11
Right.
seasons, an 11-season playoff drought here in Philadelphia, they're going to have to be the top dog offensively when it comes to the long ball in the National League. The Dodgers are going to hit home runs. The
Dodgers
Braves are
going to
going to
be
hit home
there.
runs.
Yeah.
The Mets are probably going to hit some home runs. Like, you got to be able to bash with those teams big time. And then nobody wants to talk about it, but losing Hector Neris, I think, is going
I
to
think
hurt
it's going
this
to hurt. I
baseball
think that's
team.
going to be the biggest loss, honestly, this year for
Everyone
us.
wants to, look at me like I have four heads, but, you took Hector Neris out of the closer's role last year, which he was just in over his head. Some guys can't take the heat. That's not what he was. He's not a closer, but he was pretty darn good as a setup man.
All-star. I think he was all-star level as a setup man.
So you do that, you lose Archie Bradley and Neres in the setup roles, and you bring in Janoris Familia, who doesn't excite me.
Who's a walking machine.
Doesn't excite me at all. And they signed someone else. Who was the other bullpen guy they signed?
Brad Hand.
Brad Hand,
Yeah.
who this is not 3 years ago.
Right. You give me him 5 years ago, and I'm thrilled. Yeah, but the last 2 years for him has just been real disappointment.
Toronto picked him up the deadline, thought they got some answers at the back end of that bullpen, and he was injured and ineffective.
Yeah.
He's a lefty, which I like.
It's always nice to have,
but this is a good baseball team, but still a flawed baseball team. And I think that they're going to be able to sneak in to a top 6 playoff berth in the National League.
Yeah.
And Jason hit the nail right on the head. They have to lead the league in home runs to make that happen. I'm going to look at their odds right here after we go through some comments. But what do you think? They're probably third in the East.
I was about to say if they're in the top 3 in the NL in home runs, I think we make the playoffs.
But in terms of the betting odds, they're still third behind Atlanta and the Mets. No,
I put them ahead of the Mets.
You do, but what do the sports books do?
I would
I'm gonna
assume
look at
they're
it
probably third. Yeah, I would assume they're probably
third. John, sorry, buddy, Castellanos. Thanks for checking in. Sorry I butchered your name, buddy.
Johnny C.
Johnny C. I like it. But you're Johnny C. So now I'm going to get mixed up. I'm going to get mixed up and confused now. Do you think the Phillies are done signing players, or do they address pitching? Unless there's a trade that comes out of left field, I don't know who else you sign or who else is out there. Because Trevor Story went this morning, right before we went on the air. He goes 6 years, 140.
Nice friendly deal to Boston,
6 years, 140 to the Boston Red Sox. Just another star going from the National League to the American League. Boston's they're gonna be a good baseball team.
Yes,
they're gonna score a bunch of runs. But I don't know who you want. There's no bullpen help out there.
No, I think we're done signing people. Maybe we get a couple training camp invites maybe are still out there that could sneak in and make the back end of this bullpen. But it's got to be trade.
But I think Johnny C here is talking about a difference maker.
Oh, no. We're done. 100% we're done.
You missed out on raiding the Oakland A's roster. Now maybe at the trade deadline, maybe that can be an avenue you explore. I know Sean Manaea out there. They're not gonna they don't re-sign anyone. The A's are at the point where they developed their guys. They got to their 90 wins a couple years in a row. Now they're flushing the toilet and bringing new guys in.
He'll be the big chip at the trade deadline.
But he's a free agent, so that's not going to cost you much money, and it's a rental, so it shouldn't cost you much on the trade market. So, yeah, John, I think that they're done until the trade deadline, and then you reevaluate things and you see where you stand. I mean, everyone needs bullpen help at the trade deadline. Everyone could use an extra starting pitcher at the trade deadline, and then Obviously, it would be a disaster if this team needs more offense at the trade deadline.
If you need
That
more
shouldn't
offense,
happen.
you're not making a trade, right?
And someone,
if you're looking to get a position player at the trade deadline, we're going to be sellers rather than buyers.
Right, that means disaster happened and someone got hurt, like significantly hurt, which that would suck. Or the Castellanos Schwarber
experiment ain't working.
It's not working.
Right.
But you look at it and they actually played their cards right in terms of not wanting to pay. Look, this guy doesn't want to pay luxury tax. It's clear as day.
Yep.
He bit the bullet and finally said, all right, Castellanos, he's good. He's an offensive powerhouse. Well, let's bring him in.
And he got him on a deal. I mean, honestly, it's a deal. It really is. If you look at what everyone in the beginning of free agency clamored, we want Chris Bryant, right? You look at what the Rockies gave him, and we pretty much got two very good players for the price of Bryant. I'll take that all day. That's a steal to me. Middleton, that's a great move. We got to praise him for that.
Right, but what you get with Bryant is third, left, first, potentially center field, and he's good at all of them.
Right.
So if you get Bryant, like you're not giving away as many outs as I think that this team is going to give away in the defensive part of the game, which is important. I know everyone chicks dig the long ball, one of the greatest marketing campaigns in the history of sports, and that's going to look good. And Jason hit the nail right on the head with the Phillies leading the National League in home runs. Like, that's what's got to happen. Tom Arnone, he's in the house. He agrees to the bowl. They better look and enough's enough with not making the playoffs in a major market. You know, you're at 11 years with no playoffs.
Going on 12.
That's unacceptable.
Yep.
You know, you're in the fourth biggest market in terms of sports popularity and the fifth biggest. What is it? Fourth biggest in terms of money and market, and fifth in terms of people and fans.
Yeah.
I think the Texas Arlington market is bigger with fans, but Philly has more money.
Yeah.
And then you look at the teams that have like the Pirates don't have as long as a postseason drought as the Phillies. The Orioles made the playoffs more recently than the Phillies. The Kansas City Royals,
the Rockies
have made the playoffs more recently than the Philadelphia Phillies. That's not acceptable, and that needs to change, and it has to change this year. If it doesn't change, it's probably Joe G's head that's gonna roll.
If we're not looking good by the trade deadline, I see him.
Yeah, so you see a potential in-season move.
Yeah. Yeah, the money that the owners have put into this and the GM have put into this, if we're not in playoff contention at the trade deadline, he's gone.
Do you see Middleton being in pay? Like, okay, you guys bitched and moaned at me.
Hell yeah.
Bitched and moaned at me that I needed to pay this luxury tax.
Right. He can sit back in his chair and say, hey, I did my job now. Right. I did my job. It's your turn, Joe, to do yours.
Right.
And then if you don't do it, you're getting fired. And then if it doesn't happen again, now I got to make some more player moves. So, yeah, Middleton is sitting back saying, my job is done.
And do you think he could potentially be overly critical if this team starts slow or we get to June and they're scuffling a little bit?
I 100% would be. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I hope not, because I don't want an owner that meddles.
Even if we're at the trade deadline, if we're 7 games out, I'd be really, really disappointed.
What if you're 7 games out of what? The division?
Division, yeah. I'd be really disappointed.
But I think they're the third best team in the division. So if they're 7 games out in the division,
do you really
at the trade deadline?
Do you think we'll be 10 games out by the end of the season?
The end of the season?
I don't see any team winning 100 games in the East. Right? So you're telling me, let's say the leader wins 96. All right? You don't think we could win 86?
Yeah, I mean, they should.
They should, right? Yeah,
but like I said, this is a good baseball team, and the excitement is deserved, but this is still a flawed baseball team.
But as the owner's aspect, that's what you have to be thinking, right? If I'm not there, if I'm not within 10 games and in a wild card position, I'm pissed.
Yeah, but if you're 10 games out at when? The trade deadline?
No, at the end of the year.
I mean, if you don't make the playoffs this year,
Right.
It's someone is going to pay.
Someone's going.
There's going to be blood.
Yeah.
There's going to be blood in the media. There's going to be blood in the fan base. People like me and you and Tom Arnone, everyone who does a show at A2D Radio that loves baseball,
Yeah.
they're going to want blood. And Middleton is going to want blood because he's paying this tax to not make the playoffs.
And that will not happen.
And then if you don't make the playoffs this year, because I think the Mariners, that's the next team with the biggest playoff drought besides the Phillies.
Right.
So I think the Mariners are going to make the playoffs this year. They've made a lot of moves. They spent money.
Yeah.
They have a great young core, and I really like what they're doing out there in Seattle. So if my prediction holds true and Seattle makes the playoffs this year and the Phillies don't, then you're the longest tenured team without a playoff berth.
Yeah.
The longest out of 30.
Right.
And you spend money here. This isn't the Rockies, even though they just spent money.
I'll say this. If we don't make the playoffs this year, you can kiss every other year that Middleton is the GM and owners here, that combination of us ever going over the luxury tax again. That will never happen again if we don't make the playoffs this year.
I can't really argue that, though.
Either could I.
So, the only team, and everyone's mindful of the luxury tax, except the Dodgers, who
they don't give a crap.
They just don't care. I love it. I love it. Look at their team. It's a wiffle ball team,
right?
There.
Yeah, I mean the when the owner literally says, "I want to create a 4th tier luxury tax just for us," that he doesn't give a crap about money.
He wants to win. And by the way, they don't win. They win, but they don't host. What do they have? One.
Yeah.
They got one, but it was in the Corona year, right?
Right.
So that's asterisk city, according to some.
I would rather. I mean, listen. They maybe not win, but they're there every year. They're there every year.
If you're spending that much money, you got to win.
I hear you. You got to get there though too, right? We can say that, and we don't ever get there.
So even the Yankees, they don't want to go over the luxury tax.
Right.
I'm sure Boston's over now with the Story deal, but they're right there. Teams just don't do it. They don't want to pay the luxury tax.
Nobody's in business of giving away free money. Nobody's in business for that.
Part of the reason is these owners think they don't make enough money, which is ridiculous.
Well, I'm sure they took a little bit of hit. I'm sure they took a little bit of hit. It's a different time, right? Everyone's coming after the coronavirus, and no one in the stadiums and everything. You don't know how it affected some franchises.
I mean, I understand that. You understand that.
I'm never going to bash somebody for that.
The owners seem to don't. Brian Blaine on Facebook. Gentlemen, great day here in Ocean City. Agree as long as Nola can be an ace again. Yo, Bri, I hate to break it to you, but Aaron Nola was never an ace.
Yes, he is. I'm a big Nola fan. The guy has great stuff. Apparently, he has changed his.
I think we're throwing around the word great.
He's got great stuff. But apparently he has changed his mechanics a little bit this year. Has gotten rid of that little herky-jerky at the top of his delivery and has gone just a little bit more calm, a little bit more mainstream. So hopefully that makes him a little bit more accurate, because the guy would get to 0-2 almost every single at-bat and then end up making a bad pitch, 0-2. So I really do think his changeup is a top 10 pitch in this league. It's a top 10 pitch in this league.
No,
yes, it is.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I mean, look, Aaron Nola pitching well, I'm all for it. But an ace is someone you give the ball to, and you have no doubt about it that they're going to pitch well for you, and they're going to log innings for you. That's not Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola's been an ace for 6 weeks in his career. Now, it was a couple years ago when he was battling Scherzer and DeGrom for the Cy Young, and he finished third because he just wasn't as good as those guys that year.
Right.
So
right.
I can't give a guy an ace status because of 6 weeks out of what? A 5-6 year career? He's a good pitcher. He's not a great pitcher. He can go prove me wrong. That's fine.
I think he has all the ability to be a Cy Young candidate year in and year out. He does.
He's like he's a 2-3 pitcher.
No, he's not. He's a 1.
He's going to have – I disagree about Aaron Nola. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have a role on a winning team. And the Phillies need to hit for him. Take that pressure off him. Maybe he can get in a little groove and return to that. What was that? 19 when he was just going
19,
off
yeah.
for 6 weeks, and it wasn't even a whole season of him going off. It was 6 weeks out of a very long baseball season. So I'm very skeptical on the Aaron Nola ace talk.
All
I
right.
am.
I would just like to see him. He's never really produced at the end of a year. That's my concern.
No, and he doesn't produce on the road either.
Yeah, okay. I mean, he just hasn't the last 2 months of his season. He's kind of fallen off every single year. I would like to see that get a little bit better.
I mean, if I can trust you on the road and I can trust you in September, then we'll talk about him being an ace.
Right.
But right now, he's not an ace. He's the number 2 starter. Probably on a really good loaded team, he's a number 3 starter. But he's our number 2, and we got Wheeler at the top, and you got Suarez and Eflin and Kyle Gibson.
Is that not a good rotation, though? Aren't you happy about that?
It's a good rotation, yes.
Every one of those guys could go above 500, right?
Especially if you hit like they're rumored to be able to hit like. But, it's a good rotation.
Yeah.
I'm not getting carried away with it. I'm not getting carried away with this baseball team. I think they're going to make the playoffs as a wild card, and we'll see what happens. Maybe they can win the division.
Since 2009, though, I mean, is this not on paper the best roster we have had since 2009?
Yeah, well, 11.
11, okay. Yeah,
11.
11. So in the last decade, this is by far our best roster, you top to bottom.
Just like you're just boxed in with this baseball team scoring runs. That's your only recipe for success.
I agree with you. I do agree with you, but I do think our starting pitchers, I think every one of our starters could give us a solid 6 innings every game. They have a potential to give us solid 6 innings.
Jake Friel is an easy agree for me. Okay.
There you go.
An easy agree. Like, you have to be better. Like, the teams we talked about at the top of the show. Like, are they better than the Giants?
I think so.
Are they better than the Padres?
Maybe not. They're close. If the Padres, without Tatis and without Snell, yes. But with them, no.
I think Snell's on a bounce back year.
Well, he's not going to start the season, if I remember correctly, right? He's missing opening day.
Didn't read that, but, I mean, he's too good to be as bad as he was last year. And down the stretch, when they were out of it and scuffling, he was actually putting together some pretty good innings last year down the stretch in San Diego.
He was. He's a great pitcher.
And then are they better than Milwaukee?
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's a stone agree for me. They're better than the Brewers. Like, those are the 3 teams that are going to be fighting for that 6th spot. And then it'll be interesting to see, like, can the Marlins step up and put some pressure on the National League?
I think we're kind of forgetting the Nationals, too. I mean, you have a guy who is going to be an MVP candidate, right? And Soto.
Yeah, but they're designed to stink.
I hear you, but anytime you got a guy who can carry a team, like Soto probably is going to carry them, you got to be a little bit leery of him.
Just walk them every at bat.
Hey, I guess you could.
I mean, Patrick Corbin's their ace. They got no bullpen.
I'm with you. I'm not too afraid of them, but I am afraid of the one guy.
So, yeah, you look at them compared to the other wildcard teams, they should be in it.
Yeah.
They should be in it. But, like, the Phillies are going to do big things, meaning big things like hitting the ball over the fence, hitting the ball off the wall, and it's going to be sexy and it's going to be flashy when it's working. But if it's not working, it could be some ugly stretches of baseball throughout the season. And this lineup really needs to be consistent throughout the season for this team to get to the playoffs.
Speaking of that, let me ask you a question. What do you think the middle of our lineup, our 3, 4, 5 hitters, how long do you think they stay hot together? Do we get a quarter of the year where they're hot together, do you think? Or is it going to be Harper's hot and Reese and Castellanos aren't? Or Castellanos hot and Bryce and Reese aren't? Like, can we get all 3 of them hot together?
Well, Bryce hasn't started great.
Correct.
Here. He gets his numbers because he gets so hot when the weather gets warm. I don't know. This because these guys, they have splits, right?
Everyone does.
Everyone's like, some guys start gangbangers and they're hot in the beginning of the season, then they tail off. Some guys need the weather to be cool. Some
Right.
guys are hot in the middle, and it's
a roller coaster. Baseball is a roller coaster season.
It's a dollar cost average sport.
Yes.
So you need to look at it after 162. Look, when you have,
I'm just saying, I think you're going to be in trouble if we don't have the heart of our lineup carrying us for a quarter of the season.
Well, Castellanos and Harper, in my opinion, I've read a bunch of different things on the internet about how different fans and different experts are going to stack these players from a lineup standpoint.
That's another question, yeah.
To me, it's Harper and Castellanos, 3-4.
Okay. I'm with you.
They're your 280, 285, potentially 290, 300 hitters.
Right.
That's how you – but you look at Schwarber, like Schwarber, it's sexy when he barrels up the ball and it goes 500 feet, but, he's a 240 hitter.
Where do you put him? Is he your leadoff guy? Like, where do you put him in the lineup?
That's an interesting point as well. I think let's get to that in a second.
Okay.
Because then you got Reese, who's probably going to hit 30 bombs.
Also going to walk 100 times. Right?
Which is good.
Dude has a great eye.
And I hate Rhys Hoskins in the 2-hole. So I want Rhys Hoskins at the back of the order.
Okay, we're going to disagree on that.
Back middle-ish.
Okay.
Plus, I'm a traditionalist. I want to have some speed and athleticism at the top of my line.
Okay. All right.
But Castellanos and Harper, they're your guys. And then you need Realmuto fourth. That's your three, whatever. And like right, left, right, whatever you want to do.
Right.
But that's your core in the middle because Realmuto, he's going to hit around 270.
You would hope, yeah. 275, yeah.
I mean, he did it last year.
He's consistently been there, yeah.
And then, who else do we got? Like Didi's at the back end.
Didi, Bohm, Gene, Segura, and then Double, I guess, center. So,
which that's you want to talk about giving away.
He's your 9 guy, right? I mean, that's pretty simple.
But that's like my issue with this team right now. Like, you want to talk about giving away outs and being a bonehead. Like, you can't do that in center field, and that's your center fielder right now.
If we make one error a game, we should be happy. We should be happy if we end the year with 170 errors or less. We should be thrilled.
No. That's that. If they have 170 errors,
that's a joke. I hear you, but
they're not.
Honestly,
if this baseball team has 170 errors over 162 games, they're not going to the playoffs. Guaranteed, not going to the playoffs.
I don't see. I mean, there's just too many. First base is an error waiting to happen. Third base is an error waiting to happen. Left field's an error waiting to happen. Center field, shortstop.
But this is why Bryant gets. This is why you get Castellanos and Schwarber for the same price as one Bryant.
I agree with you. You're right.
And then I don't know because leadoff, I guess, is Segura.
I want Reese
leading off.
Yeah, I think Reese is a decent leadoff guy.
If you want to do that, then just hit Schwarber fourth and bat Harper leadoff.
No, Reese walks.
So does
Harper.
Has
a great eye. He's going to make the pitcher work for the every at bat. Like I hold that more value than, like you said, speed.
No, I can't.
I hold working a pitcher more valuable than speed.
But Harper's going to steal you 20.
I don't want Harper ever stealing 20.
That's what he does.
I hear you. I just don't want him running that much.
Why?
Because we're not winning by stolen bases. I don't give a crap about stolen bases, right? We're not even going to win by hitting singles, so I don't even want us on first base. We're going to win by mashing. We've already established this, right? We're going to win by the long ball. The sacrifices and the hit and runs, and that's not going to be a part of our game. We're going to mash. Let's put our big guys up to the top of the lineup and let's mash.
It makes me cringe to even suggest Harper as a leadoff guy because that's just not the way I like the stacked lineups. I'm a traditionalist in that standpoint, but you look at the on-base percentage.
Who you put at the 2-hole then?
Gene.
Who you have one?
Not Hoskins.
Who you putting there? JT?
I don't want Schwarber up there.
Right. Neither do I.
So is the leadoff hitter by default Harper?
No. You're not putting your best hitter at 1. You can't do that. You just can't do that.
Then you have 3, 4, 5 is Castellanos, Schwarber, and Real Muto. And Reese 6.
Right.
Reese it's a perfect spot for Reese in the 6 hole.
And then I guess you go Gene and JT, or I mean Gene and Schwarber, 1, 2.
It'll be interesting.
It's going to be interesting.
Joe's going to have his work cut out for him in terms of putting this lineup together and maximizing the athleticism and the power and being able to lengthen the lineup. Because, like, you can't have 3 duds. Like, Herrera's a dud. Gregorius is a dud. Maybe that'll be Bryson Stott. And Bohm hasn't proven anything.
Right.
To me, Bohm's the whole key to the whole team.
Yeah, if Bohm has a good year, if Bohm turns back to his rookie year where he was if anyone was in running position, he was automatically knocking them in, this team's going to be real fun to watch.
They're going to be fun to watch regardless, which is great.
Right.
Because it's a product that you can be entertained by. Like the Sixers. I watch every Sixers game now. I don't miss a second.
Yeah,
it's must-see TV.
It's not fun for me to watch them booting the ball around the field, though.
Well, that's they're entertaining, yes, but like the Rays aren't entertaining, but they win 95 games a year.
True.
So, like, what do you want? Like, you're going to sell tickets, especially in the first part of the season.
Oh God, that stadium's going to go back to being sold out, a lot this year. Now that's going to be fun.
Tom on YouTube, he disagrees.
Oh, okay. That's the first disagree.
It's the first disagree, and we'll see.
You want to give us your reasonings there, Tom?
Yeah.
If you're still watching, bud?
Maybe they're still. Troy Aites. I watched Nola yesterday, and his windup looked like the old Nola. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Bohm hitting mechanics are different as well.
Yeah, they said that they worked on him a little bit too. We'll see what that turns. He's supposed to shorten his stride a little bit, which definitely will help if he does.
If he has a good season offensively and defensively, then the Phillies will have no problem making the playoffs.
Defensively, I think you got to kick that to the curb. I don't think that's ever going to change. But offensively, yeah, he could get better. He has that potential.
Going to be fun. That's Dynasty on YouTube. Defense and pitching worries me. I'm with you. It's a good team, but a flawed team.
So let me ask you a question. And I'm not 100% sure who's going to make this team and who's going to be on the opening day roster and everything. But are you going to be in favor of Joe Girardi doing the old, if we have a lead in the 7th, 8th, 9th, taking out a Schwarber, taking out Castellano, and putting in a defensive replacement? Are we going to see that a lot this year?
I think so. I don't know who you have to do that.
Right. I don't know who you're going to have that makes the team, but
yeah, if you're up 8-4 in the 8th, yeah, you defensively sub. Ronald Torres is back.
That's
he can play a bunch of different positions.
Yeah, you put him at third.
Decent enough glove.
Yeah.
To get some things done for you. But like you can take Reese out, you move Bohm to first. You can put in maybe you carry 3 catchers. Maybe Real Muto moves to first in the later innings, and Reese takes the seat. So you have a lot of flexibility here with the DH.
You do. You do, and I am a little bit not worried, but I do want to see that. I do hate when you have to do that, especially with the DH. With the DH, you're not supposed to have to do that, right? You just put your worst glove at the DH, right? But we just got so many bad gloves that I do think you're going to see a lot of defensive switchings late in games if we have leads.
Bryce Blackwell, one of our favorites in the house on YouTube. Gene should over. He's a 300 hitter.
Yeah, he is.
He is. He's a professional hitter.
Yeah.
He's a little bit of a bonehead sometimes and makes some mental mistakes. And
on the base pass.
I think second base is a good home for him because he doesn't have the pressure of being shortstop. But, Gene's a professional hitter. Yeah. I fully expect him to be 285, a 290 guy.
I love him in the 2-hole, right? He constantly hits behind runners. He's always going to have that hole if your leadoff guy gets on. He is your prototypical 2-hole hitter.
He's ready for baseball. Reese got to bat 5th or 6th. That's Troy H. I love that. Jason Bennett, give us your lineups.
That's what we're talking about, man.
Yeah, I'm still lost.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a work in progress. I think we're going to see a lot of different lineup changes based on.
But I don't like that.
Either do I. But based on who's pitching against us, where we're playing, I think Joe Girardi is going to have a lot of factors into who's going to be at the top of this lineup.
Baseball players, more than any other athletes, are creatures of habit.
Correct.
You can't have them showing up at the ballpark every day wondering where they're going to hit.
You're right.
You can't.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Right.
It doesn't work at all. Same with managing a bullpen. If it's 3-2 in the 7th and that phone rings, like, those guys need to know. All right,
they should know who's coming in.
It's either going to be me or this guy.
Right.
Depending on righty, lefty, and the situation and who's pitching good. So I guess you're kind of boxed in to hitting Schwarber leadoff.
I mean, they did it last year, right? Boston did it. The Cubs did it with him a little bit. So,
and it's
he has a history of being there.
Then you have, because Segura is a lefty, right? No, he's a righty. He's a righty. Yep. So it's lefty righty.
And you go Bryce.
Then you go Castellanos, Romuto.
Yep.
Reese.
Yeah.
I don't care about the righty lefty there because he's just so much better than the bottom 3.
I just don't want to put 3 righties together when we don't have to. Do you go Didi Reese?
I can't. I can't.
Then maybe you go Castellanos Harper. Like, I don't know. I just don't want 3 righties in a row.
So your 3 righties would be Castellanos as a righty,
JT's
a righty, and Reese is a righty.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
What are your other options?
Like I said, you can move DD up, or you can move Bryce down. Move Bryce to the 4, Castellanos up to the 3.
I want Bryce up in the first inning, though.
I'm with you. It doesn't make good baseball sense to have 3 righties in a row when you don't have to. It just doesn't.
But they don't have lefties that can. This is what's Bohm. He's a righty too.
Bohm's a righty too.
So you're right-handed dominant.
Another reason, there he is.
I had him in my bracket, baby. I have him. Carolina pride.
But that's another reason why you put Reese at the leadoff spot, because now you have Schwarber that could come down to the 6 and break up that 3 righties.
But I'm paying Schwarber all that money to hit 6th? I don't like that at all.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what Joe does.
And Dynasty, Schwarber led off in Boston and Washington.
Yeah, he did.
Troy H., Schwarber, Gene, Bryce, Castellanos, Reese, JT.
I mean, you're talking. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 righties in a row there. Is that what I'm reading?
John, you can't. It can't be right left. They don't have enough diversity to do right left.
I'm
right,
okay
left,
with
right,
maybe
left.
doing 2 righties, but you can't do 4.
What's Bryson Stott? What's he?
He's a righty.
He's a righty too.
Yeah.
So you got all these righties. They don't have lefties.
But you do. You do. You're choosing to put them at the top of the lineup.
But I need my best.
Do you not think Schwarber is going to hit 30 home runs in the stadium?
Yes.
Okay, so put him in the 6 hole.
But you want Reese leading off, and hard no.
Okay. Put Gene at leadoff then, and then change around.
Okay, so if you put Gene at leadoff, then what?
You could go Gene, Reese, Bryce, Castellano, Schwarber, JT, Didi, Bohm, and then Odubel.
All right.
Right?
Jason, amazing when Bohm came up. He reminded us of Jason Worth his first year and fizzled out in year 2.
Great rookie year. Yeah.
I disagree to the poll unless Girardi screws this team up, which is going to happen. So he's not a Girardi guy, Greg. But like Greg, you got to look at the National League landscape. Like, are the Phillies better than the Brewers? Are they better than the Giants? Are they better than the Padres?
I'd say Two out of three, yes. The Padres, I think, will be tough.
Then you're going to make the playoffs.
I agree. Yeah.
And like the Mets, they got to do it on the field.
Mets and to me the Braves too. I think the Braves are a great team, but if they're hurt and Olsen isn't he isn't what Freeman is for them. That they took a big step back, man. They took a big step back this offseason.
They're still a better team than the Phillies.
I think it's comparable though. I don't think it's as big as a gap as it was last year. Put it that way.
Luke Williams is going to be a super utility player and late game defensive stuff.
I'm all for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm all for that. You need guys like Luke Williams.
Brian Blaine. It'd be nice to see Stott play well enough to force himself into the majors. Look, I think everyone needs to calm down on Bryson Stott. Bryson Stott, I know he's from Vegas and he's worked out with Bryce Harper. And just because he's the Phillies' best prospect, that doesn't mean anything because this team hasn't developed talent since Howard, Utley, and Rollins and Cole Hamels. And coincidentally, that's the last time he won the World Series. Funny how that correlates right there.
Right.
But, I mean, this guy's the 11th best, according to MLB Pipeline, this guy's the 11th best shortstop prospect in baseball, and he's nowhere near the MLB top 100 prospect list.
Right.
So, like,
he's not MLB ready.
Let's everyone calm down. Because you're just setting yourself up for disappointment, and then you're going to be screaming at the Phillies for not developing talent.
It'll be another Mickey Moniak situation.
I don't know how good Bryson Stott is. I have no idea yet. None.
He's 2 years away, guys.
MLB Pipeline doesn't think he's that great.
Yeah.
But, this is what happens in Philadelphia. They latch onto a guy, and he's in an advantageous situation because he's only got to beat out Didi Gregorius, who was horrid last year.
Right.
So, I mean, but like 11th best shortstop prospect in the majors, nowhere near the top 100. That's who I'm hitching my shortstop wagon to. Let's everybody relax. If he wants to go out and gangbusters and do really well and stake his claim at shortstop and claim that, I'm all for it.
All for it, yeah. I would love to see it.
Just like Nola, I said Nola wasn't an ace earlier in the show. Go be an ace. Go make me look like an idiot.
Yeah.
Go prove me wrong.
The best thing I think we could have with Bryson Stott is he's good enough to where the trade deadline comes up and the Brewers are out of it, we can make a move for Hader. That's what I'm looking for.
Bryce Blackwell, he's like in the Twins. Twins are loaded. A lot of teams get better. I mean, Twins loaded.
I wouldn't say they're loaded, but they got better, yeah. There's a lot of teams in the AL,
Correa,
man.
And they got a couple young bucks.
I think the funnest team for me to watch this year outside of my Phillies, it's going to be Toronto. Toronto's going to be a fun team
and
to
they're
watch.
In like they're all of a sudden there's smoke that they're going to nab up Jose Ramirez from Cleveland. Like if they get Jose Ramirez, they're better than the Dodgers.
That's a fun team to watch, man. They are so young and so talented.
Because Vlad's a brick house.
Bo Bichette, I think, is going to have a hell of a year this year.
He's good.
Yeah.
You lose Semien, but okay. You got an outfield that just mashes.
Yeah.
George Springer's going to bounce back this year.
George Springer's going to have a lot better year.
So, yeah, that's a really fun team. Really fun team. And then, I'm looking at these Marlins down there in Florida. I know I've been saying it for a couple weeks now, but, this is the team that Jeter built. And then I think that the owner reneged on his increasing Jeter's ownership stake.
Correct.
So Jeter told him to,
kick rocks. Yeah.
Kick rocks, and he left.
Yeah.
But this is Jeter's team. Jeter evaluated these guys, and Jeter thinks these guys can win. And Jeter's maybe the biggest winner in Major League Baseball history.
Not maybe, he is. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Derek Jeter. He's a talented player, but he took his average skills and really maximized it with that Yankee organization.
And there's a good stat from Troy H on YouTube. Gene hit 245 leading off last year, hit nearly 300 in the two-hole.
That's what he is, your prototypical two-hole hitter.
So to me, that stat tells you everything you need to know about who's in the two-hole.
Yeah.
That's Gene Segura. And then, I'm a Schwarber guy at leadoff over Hoskins.
I think that's where we're going to start the year. It's going to be Schwarber, but I think we'll end it with Reese.
Saucy on YouTube. He's a Yankees fan, but he thinks Castellanos was a good pickup. Everyone else making bad moves. Scott is going to be interesting because he has the potential to be a top of the lineup guy,
He
but it
does.
could take a few years.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the contract that we gave DD. Will tell you what Middleton and the rest of his organization think Bryson Scott really is. Like he's a year away, probably two.
And Pat Colt brings up Johann Camargo,
Yeah,
which is an interesting pickup. This is a
that
guy who
is an
has
interesting pick. He could play anywhere too.
this is a guy who has pop
Yeah,
from the Braves. He kind of got lost in the shuffle. We talked about him before the lockout. He got lost in the shuffle with all those young studs that they developed and brought up, like Austin Riley's and the whole thing. But this is a guy that he might be your third baseman to start the season.
he's got a cannon for an arm, a absolute cannon for an arm.
Maybe I mean it's probably not ideal, but maybe he can play shortstop. Maybe he's your late game. There's your late game sub in left field.
That's where I think he's going to get the most value. It's going to be left field.
So I mean that's a good point by Pat Colt.
Yeah,
he's a bench utility guy that can do some things for you. Bryce Blackwell, we need Latin talent, build up the farm system. I mean, we've been saying that for 11 years. They've been saying that for 11 years, Bryce, and they haven't done it. This is why you have to go over the luxury tax and buy players because they don't develop talent. I'm all for it.
It's been a long time for us.
You got an international draft now. You got now you're over the luxury tax. Now who gives a you know what?
What do you mean?
Just go. Just
you think just go more?
You're over.
I hear you.
You're over.
I really just don't think there's anyone really out there that will do it. Like who else are you bringing out there? Is there any relievers left? I don't think so.
At the trade deadline, if you're already
at the trade deadline, that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
Josh Hader is staring me in the face at the trade deadline. Like he's going to be moved this year. We should be in play for him.
Yeah, if you don't get it done, it better not because of money.
Right, exactly.
So, I mean, Pat Colt, the Padres, losers of the offseason, no idea what they're doing. Well, Tatis is just a knucklehead.
Well, is he a knucklehead or is this going to be a long-term thing with him? He's always going to be hurt.
Well, it's not that he got hurt. Guys get hurt, but he got hurt in a motorcycle accident.
I hear you. But is this going to be a lingering thing?
I mean,
right? It's a back, right?
It's a wrist.
I thought it was a back.
He broke his wrist.
Okay.
So that could zap his power for the whole season.
Yeah.
Right? So and then you got you better. I mean,
he had hamstring issues before, in the beginning of last year.
I would call him and his agent into the office and be like, yo, this is your one. If any nonsense,
don't they have that on their contracts too?
I don't know what he has in his contract, but I mean, you got to be careful about voiding a contract because then you're not going to get guys because you're not player friendly.
Right.
So you got to be careful. So, but I'd be bringing Fernando Tatis and his representatives into the office and say, "This is your one, buddy."
Right.
You put the motorcycles away. This is games. This is childish. You're the CEO of our franchise. We paid you a lot of money to be on the field and to not be on the field because of a motorcycle accident. And then did you hear they asked him in spring training tell us about your motorcycle crash in the offseason. And he said, which one?
Yeah, right.
I mean, what? Come on, dude. And I don't like meddling because guys are people. These athletes are people, and they're allowed to have lives outside of sports. James Harden went out after the Nets game or the Miami game, whatever game it was. He went to someone's birthday party at a club, and everyone got on him. I don't care about that.
Right.
I just don't get arrested. Don't act like a fool, and don't make sure you're ready to go the next time we play. I don't care. They're allowed to have lives, but if you're being reckless in the off season and you're
endangering the team, yeah,
and you're a $300 million player and you can't be there because of a motorcycle accident, that's not acceptable. It's just not. I'm jacked up for Phillies baseball. That's from Tom Arnone. Bryce Blackwell remains in the house. I say go grab Billy Hamilton just so this team has at least one guy with speed. I think our fastest guy is JT. That says a lot. Look, Billy Hamilton blows.
I was just about to say, like, I'm not getting a guy just because he's fast.
Billy Hamilton wasn't good 10 years ago. Billy Hamilton wasn't good 5 years ago, and Billy Hamilton is not good now.
Then we just let a fast guy go. Right?
There's literally no difference between Billy Hamilton and Roman Quinn.
Right.
You want to start a track team? Like, those are my first two picks.
Correct.
Roman Quinn, Billy Hamilton, and I'll never lose. But they can't throw. They can't hit. They can't hit for power.
If they can't get on base, they can't run the bases anyway.
Like Billy Hamilton, he's got like a 280 on base.
Yeah. And all the guy does is bunt. That's the only way he's getting on base.
So, no. I don't want.
Yeah, really. It's not baseball.
So, I mean.
Yeah.
It's a lot of good Phillies songs. It's going to be a fun season.
It's going to be a very fun season.
It's a good team, but it's not a perfect team. It's a flawed team. And
here's a question for you.
Go ahead.
How many times in the year do you think we look at Joe Girardi and say, hey, you cost us that game because of the lineup or a pitching matchup or whatever?
A pitching change. I mean, outside Kneubel.
Or lineup. A lineup,
what do you mean
switch.
What do you mean by lineup?
The starts Reese at leadoff or whatever, and Reese has a bad game, like, something like that.
No, I can't. You don't have a leadoff hitter.
All right, so you're taking that blame off of his plate.
I'm taking that. Yeah, okay. He's got to do the best he can, and sometimes it's going to work, and sometimes you're going to get nothing out of the leadoff hitter.
Okay.
If you got a 230, 240 guy, which is what Schwarber and Hoskins are in the leadoff spot, yeah, you're going to have some goose eggs up there in the leadoff spot.
Right.
And that's going to kill you.
All right.
But, I can't really, like.
You're not putting down Joe?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. I mean, nothing in terms of stacking the lineup on a day-to-day basis I can really blame Joe for. Now, if I don't know, I can't answer that. Hopefully not many.
I just think there's just a lot, just the way this team's constructed, there's a lot of changes, like who DHs today and who plays third or who plays first or, who's in left. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of different rotations we're going to have.
I don't think you're going to lose any games by picking the wrong DH.
Okay. All right.
How does that happen? Like
I just said, I mean, do you take Terraris and put him at third and then move Bohm to first? And then does Bohm make 2 errors that game? Like, you know what I mean? Is that a Joe Girardi?
You can't do that.
You're not going to blame him for any of that?
You need Reese in the lineup every day.
Well, you put Reese at DH.
I mean, okay. Reese could easily make 2 errors at first base too.
I'm with you. I just think there's going to be a lot of changing and switching with this lineup. I don't think it's going to be as set as people think it's going to be.
It's not going to be set in terms of who the DH is.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
In terms of 1 through 9, yeah, you got to throw out a lineup that's consistent out there. And it's probably going to look different depending on if there's a righty or a lefty starting for the opposing team.
You move Castellanos to first?
First base?
Yeah.
No.
Schwarber?
Maybe Schwarber can play first. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you're putting both of them in left field, or you put one of them in center? Like, what are you doing there?
No, one's got to play left and one's got to play DH, or you got to get.
Okay, and then you're leaving Reese and Bohm at first and third?
If you weren't comfortable with Reese and Bohm at first and third, then you should have bucked up and got Bryant.
I hear you. I'm just doing whatever I can to get Reese off the field. I'm always putting Reese at DH.
It's not feasible.
Then my 170 errors for a season's in play.
They're going to make a lot of errors. And if anything keeps this team out of October,
it'll be that.
It's going to be defense.
You're right.
Because defense matters. The Rays don't give teams extra outs, and they win 95 games a year.
The reason the Giants were as good as they were is they were the best defensive team last year.
Oakland wins 90 games a year, spending no money because you got Lorano in center, you got Olsen at first and Chapman at third.
Yeah.
You don't give away outs at those premium positions.
Yeah.
You just don't. Look at the Cardinals. The Cardinals had 5 Gold Glovers last year.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's amazing.
So, like, defense matters. Troy H. Bryant didn't want to come here. Look, you throw enough money at him,
anyone will come. Yeah, Philadelphia may not be a desirable place, but it's not a place that people are running from either.
So, I mean, Jim Salisbury said that Sir Anthony has been having a good spring so far. I mean, he's another X factor. There's your setup guy.
There could be your closer.
Could be your closer.
Right? He was projected to be our closer for 10 years, without all the injuries.
Coming off the Tommy John.
Multiple Tommy Johns, isn't it? Didn't he have 2?
Brian Black. I think 1, but maybe 2. I just want a damn Red October again. It's been way too long. 11 years, Brian.
Yeah.
I hear you. However, it can be this year. Yeah, it can be.
Should be.
Look, it's going to be, no matter what happens, it's going to be exciting. We're going to have a lot to talk about throughout the whole baseball season.
We should be in good baseball talks in September. And that, you know what I mean? Can't ask for much more.
And Ryan Martinez, he doesn't think the Phillies are a playoff team. Do you guys think Dominguez has a comeback year? I hope so. That would help a lot.
That would end a lot of problems if Sir Anthony can really be the closer.
If Dominguez can be good, even if he's not the closer. Like, you got 2 guys I trust back there in the bullpen, and Dominguez and Kneubel. Okay.
I don't know how I trust Kneubel to stay healthy, but okay.
Well, I mean, you're boxed in.
I hear you.
You're boxed in. You got who you got. It's like the Sixers. They got who they got.
Right.
You want to scream about the bench? No one's coming.
Yeah. We're going with what we have. Yeah.
The season's going to start, and this is who the Phillies got. And if Dominguez does well and Kneubel does well, then the only thing that can keep this team out of the playoffs is defense. And it still might.
Yep.
Troy H., if Brian wanted to come here, he would be here. Schwarber and Castellanos came here. I mean, I guess.
Maybe.
I guess. But, like, Brian is a better player than both of those guys.
Listen, guy, it's no matter what team you go to, it's hard to turn down money. Like, I hated that stuff when everyone was going on Mike Trout for taking that big deal because, why didn't he wait 2 more years to be a free agent and come to Philly? We would have given him that kind of money. Yeah, maybe we would have. But you don't know what's going to happen in those 2 years. If someone throws $300 million on your lap and you say no to it,
you're an idiot.
I think you're an idiot.
You're an idiot.
Yeah. And $182 million, I believe that's what Chris Bryant got. That's hard to say no to, guys.
Yes.
And the Phillies weren't giving him that.
Well, 162. What's that?
Was it 162? Okay, I thought it was 182.
Maybe it was 182.
I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was 162 though.
Okay.
But what's 7 divided by 162?
24. Is that? I'm thinking that.
So that's less than Bryce.
Yeah, he's right around Bryce.
Castellanos is a little bit cheaper, but I mean, Bryant's $4 million better than Castellanos.
Maybe, but then you still have another hole because I don't think you're going out and getting Schwarber then.
I mean, okay.
Right? And you got to take in factor the years. 7 years to 3 years for Castellanos. That's a big difference, man.
5 for 100.
You're right, 5. But the 2 years, that's a big difference. I said it last week. Remember, we were talking about I'm not giving Chris Bryant 5 years. I would have given him 3, 4 maybe. I wouldn't have given him 5.
That's fine. Then you're not going to get the player.
Okay. I could live. Looking back on it now, would you trade Chris Bryant for Castellanos and Schwarber right now? With the way this whole team is constructed, knowing you're not doing anything else, would you make that trade? It should be an instant no.
I mean, if you're throwing 170, this team not making 170 errors this year with Bryant instead of those 2.
You still have to find somebody to play another position, but either third, first,
well, I mean,
left.
whatever. Bryant, he's going out to Colorado. I don't understand the Rockies at all. I don't understand why you trade Nolan Arenado and $50 million to the Cardinals and then the next offseason sign Bryant for 7 for 162, but whatever.
Look what the Braves did, now too, right? You give Olsen that huge deal, and you let Freeman walk.
Yeah, but you got Olsen
I don't
for
get that.
8 for 160, and he's 26 years old.
I'm with you, but isn't Freeman worth that extra money over Olsen? I wholeheartedly believe
But you're
that.
not giving Freeman 8 years. The Braves just weren't going to do that, whether they're right, wrong, or indifferent. They weren't interested in doing that.
All
now you
right.
have Olsen locked in for a long time
Right.
at a price that you're comfortable with for his whole prime.
I hear you. I'm just comparing.
Now your whole team
comparing the Bryant deal to
now
this
your
deal.
whole team in Atlanta is going to grow together. You have Acuna, you have Riley, you have Dansby Swanson, you
Right.
have Olsen, you have Ian Anderson, Max Fried, Will Smith in the back end.
They're a good team. I'm
They
not
signed
saying
Kinley.
that.
Did you see they signed Kinley Jansen too?
Yeah,
1 year,
1 year.
16. 1 year, 16 million. So they're not short on
That
bullpen
that
arms.
bullpen is going to be really good.
So, they're the favorites in the East. I wanted to look at the odds.
Yeah, they're the favorites in the East. I don't think it's a big gap, but I do think they are the favorites. I think the Phillies contend. I think the Phillies are close within 5 games of the division when it's all said and done.
All sports. MLB. Where's MLB? We'll look at these odds real quick. Maybe we can get some good odds on the Phillies winning the division.
I don't think it's outrageous. I really don't. I just playing in this stadium that we have with the lineup that we have, anything's possible with this lineup. You legit have 5 guys that can hit you 30 home runs.
All right, so you want to take a stab at like what the odds are in the
For us?
NFC? The NFCs, the National League East.
Plus, I'm probably gonna sound like an idiot. Plus 320.
No, you're close.
Yeah.
So the Braves are the favorites at plus 145. Mets are right on their tail at plus 155.
Really?
Not much difference there. Then you got the Phillies at 4-1.
Okay. All right.
So you were close.
Okay.
Then the Marlins are 12-1, and the Nationals are 40-1.
Okay.
So not much respect for Washington.
Right.
Nor should there be. Then when you look at their regular season win total, the Phillies 84.5.
I gotta think that's an over. I have to believe we're an 86 win team.
It's too good of it's when I say it's a good number, like Vegas made it tough to predict.
It is, right.
So I just won't bet it.
But
you got to win more than.
I do think the division's around 96, right? I don't think the Braves get 100.
How many wins do you think it takes to make the playoffs?
With 6 teams in it, 83?
84.5. I don't think 84.5 gets you in the playoffs.
No? I think it could.
No.
I think 84.5 could. I think there could be an 83, 84 team in there.
Maybe. And then you look at the.
I just think the NL is so average, right? Besides the Dodgers, and I guess if you want to put the Braves there, there's really no team that's going to jump out. Cardinals probably because their division is horrible, but I'm not putting them as a juggernaut. Like the Dodgers are the only team that I can say easily is going to win 100 games.
The Cardinals aren't even the favorite according to DraftKings and the Central.
Shut up.
The Brewers are
really?
by like a big margin.
Really?
I'm sorry. Let me look at the division. National League West, the National League Central.
I guess
the Brewers are a whopping minus 135 to win that division. Cardinals are plus 190. That's a bet right there.
I can't trust the Brewers.
Trust the Brewers
yeah,
at all.
I just can't trust the Brewers.
Brewers shifted from like this team that bashes, and you have Christian Yelich who's got
a complete pitching team.
And you got Yelich, your best guy, who you paid all this money to. Now he's got bad back.
Everyone's saying Yelich is going to have a bounce back year. I don't see it.
I don't trust him with the bat.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's a bet right there. Then you look at the league winner. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the Phillies are the seventh favorite in terms of winning the National League outright.
So they would put us out of the playoffs then.
Correct. They have the Giants, the Padres,
Wow.
and the Brewers as better odds.
You know how bad it's
to
going to
win
be
the
if we don't
National
make
League.
if we don't make the playoffs this year. It's going to the future is just going to be so disappointing.
But the Cardinals are 14-1 to win the National League. Like, there's no love for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
You want to know why there's no love? We're talking about how it's going to be polarizing here in Philadelphia. It's going to be feast or famine. It's going to be entertaining.
Right.
But the entertainment factor may come on the negative end.
Correct.
Some nights and some stretches. Cardinals go out there. They field the ball.
They play
pitch
baseball.
the ball.
Yep.
They hit the ball for average. They steal bases. They run the bases. They do everything well. There's
they're
no holes on that team.
boring team that wins. They'll win a 3-2 game, a 4-1 game, and it'll be boring.
Good bullpen. Let's see to make the playoffs. The Phillies to make the playoffs are – where are they here?
They're not that far down that you got to keep scrolling?
It's by team. It's I guess the alphabetical order here.
Okay.
I had to have missed them.
Yeah, I mean, we can't miss the playoffs.
Like
the
Brewers are minus 285 to make the playoffs. Like, what? What am I missing with the Brewers?
Well, you said it. I mean, they got 3 top of the line starters. They're counting on 3 starters to have an under 2.7 ERA.
So it's even money for the Phillies to make the playoffs.
Okay, all right, that's not bad.
But I mean, like, Vegas is pretty bullish on Milwaukee. I think the Phillies are better.
I think the Phillies are better than Milwaukee. Yeah. Give us some info there, guys. I mean, are we off on this?
Bryce likes the over of 86. Troy H. with Story going to the Red Sox. So I would love to find a way to pluck Kiki Hernandez away from them.
He's going nowhere.
Why would they trade? Like,
he
I
ain't
hear
going
you.
Nowhere.
I mean, this guy was fantastic last year.
Yeah,
he's just going to play second base and bat leadoff.
He's only going to get better too.
And like we were talking about it, what were we on the air when we were talking about Bogarts? I guess he moves to left field.
Left field, yeah. And he'll be a Gold Glove left fielder.
That's a good team. The Yankees, and we're heavy baseball tomorrow on the Sports Hounds. We haven't talked baseball in months, I feel like. And Brad's a big puckhead, so we got the trade deadline tomorrow. Right. And so that's going to be the center of our show. And I think the Sixers are also on tomorrow. Okay. They're on tonight as well.
Yes, they are.
Well, we got Toronto. And then
I don't know who they play tomorrow.
Someone tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a tomato can on the back-to-back so we can pile up some wins here. And
I'm all baseballed out, though. It's all baseball to me. It's that time of year. The weather's starting to turn. The season's coming around.
You have been extended an invite as well to my prestigious fantasy baseball
league.
Yes,
I have.
And we're going to draft. Maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll do a draft show down here.
100%, we're doing a draft show.
Maybe we'll do the draft live on the air.
There you go.
Clear the schedule. We'll talk to some people. Maybe we'll bring you a Ramp Booth fantasy baseball draft special.
I like that. That's a good idea.
April 5th, we're gonna be doing the draft. It's a cutthroat league. A lot of. I finished second last year.
Like it. I love it.
And I love fantasy baseball. Fantasy baseball is so much better than fantasy football. So much more skill.
So much better than fantasy basketball. I hated this year. I did that for the first time. Baseball is definitely my favorite.
I got to check my lineups out. I'm in the fantasy basketball playoffs.
All right.
Yeah, I got to make sure I'm securing wins here.
There you go.
I got to pay the bills. Hopefully, Houston. What is it? 12:40. So that game's underway. How's your bracket looking, Johnny?
Broken.
Really?
I mean, my Final Four's still alive, but broken.
I gave the people Houston minus 3.5 at the top of the show. They're up 23-11. I'm hoping that cashes before Villanova tips off because I love Villanova minus 4.5.
Love Villanova.
And then I look down 6-10. We got the Wisconsin Badgers only laying 4 to what I don't think is a very good Iowa State team.
All right.
Yeah, you like the Cyclones?
I think that's going to be a closer game than you think. I think that's going to be a bucket game. Yeah.
And Auburn, a lot of Final Four. I don't think Miami can hang with them. Texas and Purdue. That's
That
at
should be a good
8:40 on
game.
TNT, and then Arizona TCU at the end of the night. Arizona should.
I have Arizona winning it all in my bracket.
So do I. I have 13 of my Sweet 16 still alive,
Okay.
7 of my Elite 8, and all my Final Four and
Okay.
championship stuff. Now I do have Wisconsin
Going
in the
to
final
8.
in the Final Four.
Oh, in the Final Four?
Right.
Okay.
I love them. I love the way they play. They have great guard play. They have
Great guard play,
chippy.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were on them, and then they lost early in the Big Ten tournament, and then people got off of them. But they're still a good team. It doesn't change that they're not a good. The Big Ten's a good league.
Right.
And then I have UCLA as a Final Four team as well.
All right.
But let's talk about the captain. NHL trade deadline came a little early here in Philadelphia. You're a season ticket holder for many years over.
Yeah.
Giroux,
time, man.
Giroux not here anymore.
It definitely changes the way I look at the Flyers. Giroux has just been a linchpin for this organization for 10 years.
Some would argue
longest reigning captain.
Some would argue that Giroux being the linchpin here for that many years was the problem.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Everyone says I've heard so many people say he's the most overrated player. Like, he's the most underrated player. Like, it's just shocking to me. I was just reading back on his history and everything, and back, what was it? Yeah, 2016 or something, where he didn't get picked for the Canadian Olympic roster, but he was leading the league in points. Like, the guy just gets overlooked constantly. Let alone the fact that he is the best face-off guy that could have ever have played in this league. That's a
good point.
That's, you know what I mean? That's a possessions that your offense gets more than the other team. He provides that. That's a big skill, man. That's a real big skill. Could be the best pure passer. Yeah, and definitely in Flyers history.
He's a playmaker.
He's a playmaker. This organization never, ever gave him a goal scorer. He never had a goal scorer to pair up with. I'm going to love to see what they do with him in Florida. Who they put him with? Like, do they put him with Huberdeau? Who they put him with?
That's a big addition for the Panthers. He's still a good hockey player. And now I do agree with the sentiment that, look, the Flyers, they stink.
Yes.
They blow.
Horrible.
Like, stink. Saying the Flyers stink is an insult to the word stink. They are just an unwatchable, boring, stagnant product. So I agree with the sentiment that it's time to turn the page. And then you look at the return, everyone's outraged at the return, but, like, you can't really have it both ways, in my opinion.
No,
like, you can't say that he's the reason that you underachieved for all these years and the reason you're in the position that you're now, and then bitch and moan about, oh, you didn't get enough for him.
You didn't get a star back for him.
First off, that's
not how the NHL works.
He's on an expiring contract, so he's a rental for Florida.
Right.
Could he resign there? Sure. But he could also go, hey, I like Philadelphia. I want to go back there and finish my career there.
That's true.
Go chase a cup. So you might get Giroux back in the offseason. I wouldn't put it past that. So the only guy I heard of in the trade is, Tippett?
Tippett. And the kid's going to be a stud. He's going to be a stud player. He's big, powerful. Like, the type of player we need in Philadelphia.
He's got 30 goals in 90 games, career games.
He's a big player, man.
Is that good? Does that indicate that he's going to be a
very good,
big-time scorer in the league?
I think so. I think he's going to be a big player.
And the draft pick stuff, I mean, okay.
Look, it's 2 years down the line. You don't know what Florida's going to be. Maybe that's a high pick. Maybe Florida holds off.
Top 10 protected, though.
Oh, is it top 10? Well, which is fine. Okay. So that goes to the next year. But maybe Florida's a good team and it's still a 20-25 pick. Or maybe they take a drop off.
Where does Giroux rank in, like, the all-time Flyers ranks?
All-time Flyers ranks? He's a top 5 to me. I mean, you got Bobby Clark. You got Lindros. You got
Perrant.
I don't put Perrant there.
Why? Because he's a goalie?
A goalie, plus he's he was bad in the beginning. Like, he had 2 stints with us. His first stint with us was really bad.
You have like the Leclerc and
yeah,
like,
I don't look at them as flyers though either. Like, Leclerc is not really a flyer to me.
why is he not a flyer?
He came from somewhere else. Like, I just don't. I don't know. Giroux is just homegrown. He's a true flyer. Like, that I don't know. He's played his whole career here. He's been real productive, real good.
Yeah, but you see, that mentality is where I have the problem with Flyers Nation and the Flyers. He's not a Flyers guy. He's not a Flyers guy.
Right,
all this
right.
team, all this organization does is just recycle guys that have been here. But like Flyers guys, like they suck.
Where do you put him on the list? I mean, I gotta put. He's got to be top 5. Like,
Definitely top 5. Well, I love Giroux. I think he's a really good hockey player. But it's like Andy Reid. Andy Reid's a fantastic coach, probably a top 5 coach ever in the National Football League.
right.
But like his time,
It was time to go.
He was here for 20 years, and
Right.
it got stale, and they weren't winning, and it was time to make a change.
I'm with you. I said it the whole time. We're going to lose Giroux, and it's a shame.
Just like you can't bitch on both ends.
Right.
You can't
You're
bitch
right.
about the return and bitch about Giroux. Like Johnny sees in the chat, he's a Giroux hater. He's glad he's gone. He's not going to be bitching about the return.
You can't. Right.
So, like, you can't be like, oh, I wanted him gone, but I thought we were going to get this, that, and the other for him. You got what you got.
And
he only wanted to go to Florida.
Keep in mind, the NHL is kind of like baseball, where you're not really going to see a star for star traded, right? It's star for prospects. That's just how it works. Like the NFL, you'll see star for star trades and things like that, but not in the NHL. It's star for prospects. So anyone who thought we would get a star back or a 50 goal scorer is just ridiculous.
Sixers tonight, back to back. A few minutes left here on the rant booth. Look, you had a disaster.
Yeah.
You had a disaster against the Nets. You get boat raced, you lose by 30 at home, and that's bad. That's an outlier.
With everyone, yeah.
That's an outlier. The way I see the NBA right now is the Eastern Conference Finals is you got 3 teams for 2 spots. You got Milwaukee, you got the Sixers, and you got the Nets.
Okay. I'm with you there. Yes. Finally, people are starting to put a little respect on the Nets.
Yeah, well, I mean,
2 weeks ago you weren't on them.
Well, Durant is just so good.
Kyrie has been playing lights out.
He can only play in like 2 more games the whole season, and New York doesn't look like they're lifting those mandates at all. And if they have to play a play-in tournament game in Toronto, Kyrie not going to be able to play there either.
Right.
So like that's where and Ben's not playing for them. I'm totally convinced
he's out.
He's not even going to play.
He's out.
So maybe you put Boston in there instead of the Nets. I don't know.
If the Nets,
the Sixers are better than the Heat. Joe.
Yeah. If the Nets aren't in, I think it's the Sixers. Yeah. There's no other team that I'm really afraid of. I love Milwaukee, but I just love the matchup with Joel against Giannis so much better.
And then that was a big win over Dallas because Dallas has been the best team in the NBA since December 1st.
Yeah, they've been hot.
It's like 28-7 or something. Their record is. They have Luka. And, that game was never really in doubt. So that's a really good win over a pretty good basketball team. And that's, kind of what I needed to see to, solidify the Sixers as, a heavyweight in this Eastern Conference, which is a very good Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I think the Sixers are a very big heavyweight. If the Nets get in through the play-in games, I think that they're dangerous.
That's my hesitation with the Nets, though. If they get in.
You're right.
If they get in.
Yeah.
And
they have to get through the play-in games.
We got 2 minutes left here. Johnny C. G disappeared way too much in the playoffs over the years for me to put him in some sort of Flyers pedestal. He hasn't made his presence felt in the playoffs in over a decade. Nobody on this team.
I was just about to say, nobody made a presence in the playoffs because we weren't there.
You need 3 lines that can skate and score in hockey. Maybe 4 lines now with today's NHL, and Giroux can only play on one line.
Correct. I mean, the guy came out there. He took every single face-off for us, then had to go and get a line change to get a break.
This year, which we all agree that the product's atrocious. Like, look at their metrics with Giroux when Giroux is on shift and on ice versus when he's not.
It's a big split.
It's eye-opening.
Yeah.
My Miami Heat. Look, Bryce. I mean, we're gonna find out tomorrow because I want everyone to play tomorrow. If you have to rest guys tonight to be healthy against the Heat,
right?
You do that. You want to sit Joe and Harden so you're ready against. Cause I need to see what I got against the Heat. I need to see because last time they played the Heat, Harden didn't play.
Yeah,
I get no information from that.
And again, maybe I'm just looking way too into this, but we're playing Toronto right tonight, I believe.
Yes.
I actually want Toronto to win, beat me.
No,
beat me. I want Brooklyn to go to Toronto and play that playing game.
Yeah, but I'm never.
I don't want Brooklyn to catch them. I'm just saying I'm not mad if we lose.
I would rather be the 1 seed than avoid Brooklyn.
I have no desire to do that. I have zero desire to be the 1 seed.
I want to have every game 7 at the Wells Fargo Center.
Okay. I just have zero desire to be the 1 seed. I'm perfectly happy at the 3. Give me Cleveland and then give me Boston. Okay, let's go.
And then, quick Eagles point. I mean, the Eagles are moving and shaking. There are big moves coming for the Eagles. I can feel it because they're shifting around.
Baker's available now.
No, stop.
Why?
Stop.
What?
I hate Jalen Hurts. I think he completely stinks, and I would not.
No?
No.
You're not giving up the 51 for Baker?
No. I would give 51 up for Jimmy G, not Baker.
Okay.
Look, everything you need to know about Baker. Cleveland came out and said that they need an adult at quarterback. And then they went and gave $230 million to a guy who's been investigated for this, that, and the other in terms of sexual assault and rape. And whatever happened, 3 first-rounders for DeShaun Watson.
Yeah.
He's going to need every bit of that $230 to pay off all these girls
that civil suits.
And these civil suits. The fact that you think that you're putting your star on DeShaun Watson, who appears to be just a total crumb, and you're crowning him as more of an adult than Baker Mayfield, that tells me all I need to know about Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield stinks. Mitchell Trubisky's better than Baker Mayfield.
Oh, wow. I don't know. I'm not out on Baker.
Dude, I think the Steelers are live in the AFC with Mitch.
Well, they just lost Juju, right?
Okay, that's fine. I think Mitchell Trubisky has a better season next year than Big Ben had for the Steelers last year.
Yeah, I mean, that's not hard to say. Big Ben was at the end of his career.
They went to the playoffs last year in a tough AFC. And the Eagles got Hassan Reddick, so you need to supplement that somehow.
Right.
I hope it's the Honey Badger and Jarvis Landry.
I would love to see Landry. I think Landry is the ideal slot receiver.
Julio Jones is out there. That wouldn't excite me too much, but
I'm not
I need a big body out there.
There's plenty of them in the draft in the late rounds. Go get one of them.
Yeah, but I think that they're going hard on defense.
In the beginning, I think in the beginning, but late rounds, go get the 6'3".
Yeah, I would brace yourself this week because Howie's up to something, moving all this money around.
I agree with you.
He's not doing that for nothing.
I agree with you. I do think Honey Badger's in play. Yeah,
that'd be terrific.
That would be terrific.
All he does is make plays. And
Stay healthy.
Jarvis Landry is just a guy you want to go to battle with. Total bulldog,
Jarvis Landry would have 80 catches.
Locker room guy.
Him and Smith running routes would be. Jalen Hurts would have a lot of open windows to throw to. Yeah, be a perfect fit for us.
And it'll be tough because it doesn't seem like any of these receivers want to come play with Jalen Hurts.
And money talks.
The sentiment, but when guys get traded, like Robert Woods for a 2023 6th-round pick, and the Titans or the Rams gave him the freedom to seek out his own trade to go where he wanted to go, and the Eagles aren't even on the list. That tells you something.
I'm with you. I would choose to go play with someone else over Jalen Hurts.
And Ryan Tannehill, he's no Peyton Manning by any means necessary.
Right.
So the fact that the sentiment around the league is that Ryan Tannehill is that much of a better option to throw me the football if I'm a receiver.
There's so many other. There's the
telling to me.
The 8 men in the box on the defense is a big factor there too because of Henry.
Well, yeah, but Tannehill can make throws, and Bryce Blackwell, Bobby Wagner, maybe that's an option.
That's another
as well.
one that's out there. I would love to have him. Yeah, you want him at the Cowboys?
All right, that'll do it for the rant booth here. Thank you everyone who liked, subscribed, and shared the show. Thank you everyone who stopped in here at All Campus. Thank you to Ralphie for producing the show. Until next Sunday, peace out, everyone.